Welcome back to another trade recap. Today is July the 9th. Gonna do a trade update for you guys, going over my trades for this month. I have been very busy currently at a temporary setup, not my usual home office. So with that being said, let's hop straight into my trading statistics for this month, starting off with my trade calendar. As you can see so far, I am up $26,000 for the month. Trade win percentage 83%. Profit factor 9.52, very high just because I've only traded 5 days this month so far, all green days. As you can see, day win percentage 100% and the average win to loss ratio of 1.9. As you can see, last week ended off the month up $10,000. This week so far has been a fantastic week as well, up $16,000. Took a couple nice trades on INTC. Earlier last week, we had AMD. Today, we had Palantir on Tuesday. And then yesterday, I took a MU trade towards the upside as well. So with that being said, let's hop straight into the charts to show you guys exactly really what's going on here in the markets. Right now, as you can see, we are currently bouncing the past two sessions. We're still kind of consolidating more so on the higher time frames, as you can see. So starting off with the major indices, we'll take a look at the SPY here. SPY on the daily chart is the leading indice in this case. So you can see SPY's leading the markets higher, Q's lagging behind, bouncing off key levels of support, and then the SMH came all the way back down into that 580, and you can see buyers are now stepping in off this level here as well. So with that being said, whenever the SPY leads the markets towards the upside, that generally means that the market has less momentum because what you want to see is tech, or you want to see some of the semis leading, which have been happening the past 3 to 6 months. Within the past 2 weeks, more so in specific, after MU earnings, we've had a little bit of a pullback on some of the semiconductors. So for the SPY, let's take a look at this number one on the weekly time frame. If we're looking at this on the weekly time frame scale, we are still very bullish. Bear with me. I am on my MacBook, so I have different drawing tools. But the weekly time frame is very much bullish, above our previous all-time highs, as you can see here. And right now we're currently basing above our 720. Higher lows are being built on the weekly time frame. Now we just want to see that push up in towards our all-time highs. Once we break above our 760, which is really outside of this range, we're going to see that next leg towards the upside here in the market. So on the SPY chart, the key levels that we have marked out as of recent have just been key levels of support and resistance. All I have marked out is our 740 to that 760. We went from the bottom, rejected off at the top, came all the way back down into the bottom, which was at 740. Now, so far today, you can see we're pushing up towards the highs. We want to see that break above our 760 for, of course, continuation back towards the upside. If we're looking at the QQQ here, right, the Qs has been the name that has been lagging behind, and of course the SMH has been a little bit weaker here as well. But you can just draw this key level support. So far buyers are stepping in right off of this 700 key psych level. Now what we like to see is this pushback towards the upside here as well. So for the Qs, if you go into the lower time frames, definitely a lot weaker compared to the SPY in itself. For the Qs, we're above our previous day highs currently. Now the key levels that we have is a Monday's highs, of course. If we can get above our 726, we can see a push back up and towards that 730 here on the higher time frames. Right, same thing as I mentioned earlier. The daily chart is, of course, in consolidation within the past 2 months. If we want to see continuation, break above our all-time highs for a push towards the upside. If we're taking a look at the SMH here now as well, this one came all the way back down into a key technical level of support, which is our 560. We're underneath the 9, underneath the 21. Currently, we are trying to reclaim back above now. But for the SMH, we would like to see number one, buyer step in, which is currently doing, and now a pushback up in towards our all-time highs. If we're looking at this on the weekly time frame, we're still very much bullish. Higher lows are being built here on the weekly. Now what we like to see is this push right back up in towards that all-time highs here, of course, which is that 680 on the higher time frames. If you now go on to some individual names here, starting off with Tesla, not really too much is going on. Weekly time frame, as you can see, is consolidating. The daily chart is, of course, more so in consolidation here as well, just in between a very tight range on the daily time frame. If you go into the hourly chart, we're just coming into a key level support here. Key levels that we do have marked out on Tesla is our 392. So far, you can see buyers are stepping in off this level. We're above our previous day highs. Let's see if we can get a mean reversion. Let's take a look at AMD. AMD was one of the main watches really coming to this week just based off the higher time frames. The weekly, this is one of the strongest names, as you can see. Nice strong push towards the upside. Weekly higher lows are very much well being built on AMD. We're above the 9 EMA here as well. And now we're more so consolidating on the daily chart, but we're above our 500 and we're holding key technical levels. And now you can see we're inside of this range. If we do want to see continuation or break outside this range above that 560 is going to be key here on AMD. If you go into the hourly time frame, let's take a look at this one and turn on some of the drawings that we do have. For AMD, really the main levels that we have marked out is our 560. I'm not sure where that one level went, but it's basically this 560 right here. And right now we're ranging, we're in between that 500 along with that 560. We have multiple touches around this general area. Right now you can see we're having a little bit of reaction off this 560. So for AMD, above 560, continuation up and towards that all-time highs here is in play, of course. If we go back onto the lower time frames, for AMD, as I mentioned, above 560, we need that for continuation. Let's take a look at NVIDIA here on the daily chart. We're finally starting to see a little bit of life here on NVIDIA. This one more so now just consolidating, building up our weekly higher lows. This is our previous retest level. And now you can see turning into support right off that 190. For NVIDIA, we would like to see that break back above. Now it's going to be this 210. So for NVIDIA, we're trading back into this daily gap. What I would like to see in this one is a pushback up in towards right above that 204, up in towards our 212 and above on this ticker. Lower time frames that I have marked out is the area that we broke out from. In this case, we have our 200 key psychological level. That's what we have marked out in this case. So far, buyers are stepping in off this 200, and we like to see that push back up and towards that 204 along with that 207. If we go into Apple, this one is pushing up nicely. We're building up this kind of cup and handle here on the daily time frame. If I was to draw this out, you can see we have our cup. Now we like to see this handle form for a pushback towards the upside. You can also consider this a daily flag pattern here as well. Ranging, I'd like to see that break above, continuation towards 320 and above here. If we go on to the hourly time frame, the key levels that I have marked out is going to be that 316. So far, you can see buyers are stepping in. Above 316, continuation towards the upside. So far, buyers are stepping in off our 310. I'd like to see that continuation back towards the upside here. So that's what I have for Apple, Google, and a lot of these other tickers, more so ranging. Microsoft, Google, Meta, a lot of these ones are consolidating just a little bit, just kind of holding up very briefly. For SpaceX, this one is right at a key technical level support, right off that IPO low, which is that 150. Would like to see some buyers step in on this one for, of course, that push back up and towards that 160 on this name. But a lot more consolidation. Let's take a look at some of the memory names that we have, starting off with MU. A lot of these ones are providing some nice pullbacks. First touch of the weekly 9 EMA. So far, a lot of buyers stepping in off this weekly 9, which is a good sign. If we're looking at this daily chart, of course, we're underneath our 9 and 21 on the daily chart, but higher lows are being built on the weekly. Higher lows are still technically being built on the daily as well. If you consider this a daily higher low, consider this more so a double bottom on the daily time frame, and I like to see this reversal back towards the upside. So for MU, the key levels that we have marked out is that 900, which buyers are stepping in. Now we're gapping back above. What I like to see moving forward for MU, and one of the key levels that we can have marked out is just going to be this right here. This is the key line in the sand. 1020 above 1020, we can see a push higher. The rejection, potentially we can see this be used as a break and retest back towards the downside. So keep an eye out on this 1020. That's going to be the key level moving forward. SNDK, another tap on the 9 EMA here on the weekly, looks very solid. INTC, this one's a little bit weaker, slowing down just a little bit. The weekly time frame is, of course, building up higher lows here as well. For INTC, we need it back above this 115. That's the area that we broke down from. This is the area that we have. If you want to see some upside back above that 118.4, of course, continuation. Names that I do like a lot here, MRVL right off this daily gap fill. So keep an eye out on an MRVL bounce, play back towards the upside, the reclaim back above 260. We can push back towards the upside. Other names that I like a lot here is Dell. This one forming a daily flag pattern. Now what I like to see is this push back up in towards that all-time highs. So I like Dell, I like MRVL, I like a lot of these names, primarily semiconductors for, of course, a bounce back towards the upside. And yeah, with that being said, that was a quick market update for you guys. As I mentioned, I'm going to try and make a more uploads, or at least more frequent uploads now with, of course, me traveling. That's a little bit harder to do so and in this temporary setup. But that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you did, appreciate if you guys drop a like and sub, and I'll see you guys next week for a brand new video. Peace.